Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Today was a stupid crazy day in the markets. Bitcoin, Ethereum were all up today quite nicely. Markets were also up nicely, but the miners were up even better, but it was just a crazy day today. So we're going to take a look at what's going on there with the markets, Bitcoin, Dow, NASDAQ, all that. And we'll also take a look at Ordinals, NFTs, messing with the Bitcoin price. Is that something that's actually pumping the Bitcoin price? If you guys aren't aware of what Ordinals are, we'll get into it. We'll kind of cover it here in a quick way. But then we also have in the news today, Mawson provided their growing some more. Their transformers are in. Hive is delaying their financial results, which is kind of regular on their part, I guess you could say. Iris Energy provided their financial results, so we'll take a look at all that. And then I think that's going to be it. Nope, I got one more thing. Also, we're going to take a look at my 2023 predictions for Bitcoin Network Hashrate. We're going to look at some data that we do have on them from last year and what it might mean for the network going into this year. Okay, so we got a lot to cover. I'm going to put the timestamps down on the bottom so you guys can skip to the things you want to see. And as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure so you guys are aware. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. Okay, we're going to try and get through this relatively quickly here. I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time. So S&P was up today 0.28% to 4147. Dow Jones was up 0.11% to 34,128. And the NASDAQ was up 0.77% to 12,687. But Bitcoin, man, did that thing pump today. And it was up today 9.56% on the day, which was a huge pump on it. And it's up again now today. So it closed at 24,329. It's up again now another 1.42% to 24,674. I mean, I couldn't find anything that was a cause for it. Markets weren't up that much. The only thing I could find was these Ordinals NFTs that are now popping up on the Bitcoin network. So we'll take a look at those here in a minute, but we'll get into the miners as well. But let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. On the 4-hour chart, we can see that it's way overbought right now. I mean, it is just ludicrous the way it's been pumping today. On the 4-hour chart, you can see here on the 1-hour chart as well, it has gone way overbought territory. It's at 89.90, which is just frightening. The good part is that we did close above our resistance line of 23,800 here on the daily. This is going to act as our support now. We'll see how well this is going to act as support. And right now, it's anybody's guess as far as where Bitcoin price goes. If these ordinals are, this next craze that's with these NFTs here. All bets are off basically on where Bitcoin could possibly go right now, if that is a craze on it. Okay. So my thinking was we were going to possibly, bounce back up to this 23,820, retest it, fall back down. Right now, I just have no clue as far as what's going to happen going forward. Last time we bounced this high was back in September of last year. And this was on Friday, the 9th of September. We bounced about 10.57% on the day. We had 3 following days of green, and then we fell back down and retested the support here at 18,300. Bounced off of that, tested the resistance at 21,300, fell below it. So I don't know if that's going to happen again or not. It all depends on what's going on with these Ordinals NFTs, like I said. So that is kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench into things right now, at least for me, looking at Bitcoin where it could possibly go. So on the 1-hour chart, you can see we are way overbought, like I said. And last time we were this high on the RSI was a ways off. I don't think my chart can even go that far back, maybe to around here. This was back in, this was back in, this looks like it's January. And we had a pretty nice pump here as well. So that's been a while. So price is lower here. We are higher on price at this same point of RSI. Okay. So it could be a good sign going forward. We'll have to see. But we definitely need a little bit of maybe a little bit of a pullback on the RSI here, get a little bit of a relief, possibly to go up higher, if that is going to work out that way. Or we could be getting just, getting our rug pulled here, getting tricked, and it's going to come crashing down. Time will tell, I guess, on that one. Ethereum also, if we look at it here, let me zoom this in. On the daily, Ethereum was up today nicely as well. It was up 7.59% on the day, closed at 1,674. It is up right now about 0.9% also. It is at 1,690 as well. The RSI looks a little bit better on the daily chart here than it does on Bitcoin. The 4-hour chart is also overbought here on Ethereum right now at 79, and then the 1 hour chart is way overbought right now at 88 as well. Okay, so that's Bitcoin, Ethereum. Let's take a look at the miners here. They had a great day today because of the pump in Bitcoin. And let's go through it here really quick. So Annie was actually up today 13.36% to 47 cents. Argo was up 19.26% to $1.61. Had a great rally today. Bit Digital was up nicely as well, 12.41% to $1.54. Bitfarms was up 14.43% to $1.11. They're restarting the clock again for their to get what's the word I'm looking for here? To gain compliance with the NASDAQ listing. They have to be above $1 for 10 consecutive business days or trading days. We'll see if they can actually do that this time around. We were pretty close here the last couple of times, but didn't fall through. And let's take a look at Cypher. Cypher was up 20.79% to $1.83. CleanSpark had a nice increase, but not as nice as some of the other ones. It was up 8.54% to $3.56. Cores was up 20.18% to 34 cents, almost 35. DigiHost was up 13.33% to $1.70. DMG was up 12.78% to 26 cents. Greenidge was up 9.24% to 65 cents. Hive was up 7.62% to $3.53. HUT was up nicely 13.97% to $2.04. Iris Energy had a huge day today, up 66.99% to $4.28. I'm guessing the investors liked the fact that they are getting more miners without any additional cost, and that has been pumping the stock here recently in the last couple of days. Had a really good day today. Also, they provided their earnings today. We'll look at those here in a little bit as well. We'll take a look at them. They weren't bad, but they weren't great either. Marathon was up 18.3% to $7.95. Mawson was up 7.34% to $3.07. Riot was up 12.88% to $6.66. Soluna was up 14.61% to 35 cents. And Wolf was up 8.33% to 65 cents on that one. Bitcoin Network hash rate also has jumped up a little bit here. You can see here on the 7-day average, it is now at a new all-time high of 297 million. Previous all-time high was 295 million. On the 1-day average, we can see here that we are starting to climb back up. We are at 317 million as of, I believe this was yesterday. So it has been coming back up. Our previous high here is 327 million. Okay. So that's all that. So let's take a look at what's going on with these ordinals here and what it's all about. So Bitcoin NFT's protocol Ordinals surpasses 100,000 inscriptions. There are now more than 100,000 pieces of data inscribed directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Right? We're used to having Bitcoin be used for peer-to-peer transactions, trading Bitcoins, but now we also have NFTs on the network. So just 5 days after reaching 50,000 inscriptions, Bitcoiners using the Ordinals protocol have now inscribed more than 100,000 pieces of data onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Since the project's launch in January 2023, a seemingly endless stream of pictures, audio files, and PDFs have been uploaded. As previously described, inscriptions through the Ordinals protocol allow users to embed data, usually images, directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain, effectively enabling NFTs on Bitcoin. And there's a reason for that. There were some updates to the Bitcoin network that made this possible. So prominent projects on Ordinals include Bitcoin Shrooms. Not sure what those are. We can probably take a look at those. Astral Babes and Bitcoin Punks, which are Bitcoin-based uploads of the original Ethereum CryptoPunks. One of these has now sold for as much as 9.5 Bitcoins, or approximately 215,000 at the time of writing. I still can't, for the life of me, figure out these NFTs. You know, they're just little pictures of things, and people are paying crazy money for these things when you can download a picture from the internet and you have that same thing. It's not the original or whatever it might not be. You have a copy of it, but still, why pay that much? That's beyond me. Okay. Maybe you guys know more about this, and you know, collectors. I get collectors would do this, but collectors would usually do things on comics, on artwork, things that are physical, real world things that you could hold and display at your house or whatever you want to do with them. You know, these things are digital versions of, I guess, those things. Now, let's see here. Here we go. So you can explore all of the various inscriptions via the Inscription Explorer. The platform has been rapidly adopted by a wide array of users, From artists to businesses, it has been an explosion in usage in recent weeks, likely a result of the growing popularity of NFTs and the promise of NFTs directly built onto the Bitcoin platform, inheriting all of the qualities that make Bitcoin the leading layer 1 blockchain. Okay, so I understand the appeal here with Bitcoin network. Now, my question is, with all of these little transactions happening here, is that actually contributing to the spike that we're seeing in the Bitcoin network price right now, right? We're seeing a huge spike this week, or yet today. We saw one a couple days back, a week or two ago as well. Is this also contributing to that as well, where they're getting these little micro satoshis that they're picking up, and is that driving the price of Bitcoin up? I don't know. I don't have enough data on it. I'm going to be looking into it as well on that one. So let's take a look at some of the things that are on here, and you can see here that you got like the Bitcoin punks. So these things can be inscribed on there. You got these astral babes, just little pictures of astral babes, I guess. That's starting to show up here. And here are the inscriptions that you can actually find that are being populated now into the Bitcoin blockchain network. So you got the astral babes here. You got some other things. You got some just regular text here, looks like. Some other funny things, roses. You got, looks like trading cards or something like that. And if we refresh this, you can see that, the stuff is just getting added on there more and more. Hopefully nothing inappropriate shows up. But you can see here that stuff just keeps getting added to the network right now. So, and each one of those has to be a transaction on the network. So you're spending some BTC or Satoshis to do it. Okay. So I'm wondering if this is actually driving the price of Bitcoin up. So let's go back here. There was another article on it as well. Bitcoin miners already made nearly 600,000 from Ordinals NFT transactions. This was posted on February 14th, so that was yesterday. I'm sure that has gone up already. But here's what really want to know about it. Since the launch of Ordinals in mid-December 2022, users have inscribed nearly, now it's over 100,000 NFTs into the Bitcoin blockchain, earning miners a cumulative 574,000 BTC transaction fees to date. Data from Dune Analytics shows. So think about it, if any of the miners have 1%, 2% of the Bitcoin network, they're getting 1-2% of that transaction fees as well. And rising demand for Bitcoin block space. So Ordinals protocol was made possible by Segregated Witness, SegWit for short, and Taproot, Bitcoin's network soft fork upgrades from 2017 to 2021, respectively. For instance, the SegWit update effectively increased Bitcoin's block capacity to 4 megabytes from 2 megabytes. Similarly, the Taproot update helps batch and verify multiple transactions together as long as their size does not exceed 4 megabytes. This feature allows the inscription of data such as images and videos in Bitcoin blocks, and this is kind of what we're seeing right now. So this kind of being hyped up a little bit right now, I think, in the Bitcoin network. So we'll see what this actually does to the Bitcoin price. It's anybody's guess right now, but there's a bunch of these here that are just being uploaded, as you can see here. Your previous, all of these little images that are just now being added to the blockchain network, which is one, kind of interesting, and two, if it's going to be pumping the price of Bitcoin up, I'm all fine with it as long as it doesn't congest the network and make fees really, really high. So let me know what you guys think of this. If you guys agree that this is possibly also contributing to the Bitcoin price increase that we're seeing right now, it's just that hype is driving that price appreciation in the use case, or is it just something else? Could it be also that Bitcoin shorts are getting liquidated right now? That could be also one of the things that's happening. It's too early to tell right now. Okay, so let me know down in the comments below. And let's get into some other news stories that we do have here really quick. Mawson Infrastructure has completed installation of 2 additional substation transformers at the Midland site and expects to double its operational capacity to 100 megawatts in early Q2. So this is just a quick update from them on that one. And you can see here their facility right here. And I don't see the transformers out here anywhere. Might be in there someplace. Okay, so that's actually good news for them to be able to grow. This additional 50 megawatts is going to add to the 100 megawatts that they're going to have. And it is going to be about possibly 3.5 exahash once it's fully deployed, on that one. So I just thought that was good news for them. Next is Hive Blockchain. Hive Blockchain has announced that they're going to be late filing of interim financial statements. They were supposed to file, I believe, today, if I'm not mistaken. Here, let's see, where is it? Here it is. So Hive announces that as a result of unforeseen tax notice receiving this morning in relation to one of our European subsidiaries, the company will be unable to file its interim financial statements and accompanying management's discussion and analysis for the 3 and 9 months ended December 31st by February 14th, which was yesterday. So they are a little bit behind here on that. They're saying that they're going to try and get this done by February 28th. We have seen this before from them on multiple occasions where they were unable to file on time because of one reason or another, but basically because they are located in different geographical areas or different countries. Makes it a little bit more difficult for them. Okay, so hopefully we'll get it by the 28th on that one. Okay. Next is Iris Energy. So Iris Energy reports second quarter fiscal year 23 results. This is for their 6 months and the quarterly Q2 results in here as well. So we'll just kind of go through here really quick. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We'll look at the numbers that I do have for them. So second quarter fiscal year 23 financial results, Bitcoin mining revenue of 13.8 million as compared to 16.2 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023, primarily driven by reduction in the number of Bitcoin mined and decrease in the Bitcoin price. Okay, that's fine. Mined 722 Bitcoin as compared to 780 Bitcoin in the first quarter of our fiscal year 2023. Lower Bitcoin production was primarily driven by higher global hash rate during the period. That is also true, but they also gave away a lot of their miners through their special purpose vehicle. Investment, the special purpose vehicle investment, I guess you could say, that the miners were handed back to the creditors for that. And then electricity cost of 7.4 million as compared to 6.6 million in the first quarter of our fiscal year 2023. Higher electricity costs were driven by growth in hash rate during the period and excess demand charges attributable to unutilized power capacity post-termination of hosting arrangements in the connection with certain groups' limited recourse equipment financing facilities. So that's part of that. They they returned about 3 point something exahash, and because of that, their demand fell quite sharply, and so they're having to pay a higher cost on the electricity for that. Okay, site and corporate costs of 9.3 million as compared to 8 million in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. So those were up 1.3 million. Net loss after income tax was 144 million as compared to 17.9 million loss in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. It was primarily driven by the 105 million of non-cash impairment charge and loss allowance for the receivables. So that's basically them giving back the miners on that one. Okay, and then let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. We'll look at some analysis as well. So Iris Energy currently has about 54 million shares outstanding, and stock price is $4.28, has gone up quite nicely today. Market cap is 235 million right now. They are currently at 1.7 exahash. They are going to be getting to 5.5 with the news that came out yesterday or the day before, where they reported of getting 4.4 exahash without having to pay any additional from the credits that they had with Bitmain. They are selling part of that, so they will only get to 5.5 on that one. And let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them. We'll do Q1 a little bit here where we do have data, and then we'll also do Q2 as well on it. So they report biannually, twice a year, their numbers. So we do have a little bit of the first quarter data and a lot of the second quarter data. So we'll go through this. So assets, they reported for the 6 months here as having 40.6 million. That is a pretty big decrease here from where they were at 109 million at the end of their fiscal year 2022, which they reported back in, this was for June quarter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, somewhere around there, June quarter ending. Then we got here, amounts receivable and prepaid was 2.5 million compared to 23 million, so that's down. Prepayments and other assets was up 31 million from 26 million. Total current assets at 74 million compared to 160 million, so that's way down, almost 50% less. Property went up a little bit here to 273 million from 247, so that's good. Right of use pretty much stayed the same. Goodwill, nothing on goodwill. Deferred tax, about the same. Mining hardware prepayments went down to 58. I'm sure that's going to come down even more with the purchase, the purchase that they made of the Bitmain miners here recently. That's going to be drawn from this, I believe. So that's going to be pretty much non-existent in the next report. And total non-current assets of 337 million. That's down from 410 million. Total assets is 411 million from 570 million. So that is down quite a bit there. Current liabilities. So 17.6 million trade and other paid payables from 18. So that's good that they went down a little bit here. Borrowings went up to 110 million from 60 million. So that's went up quite a bit there. Income tax liability went up a little bit here to 2.8 from 1.2. Employee benefits also was up higher, 4.3 compared to 2.1. And then provisions was up 4.6 from 2.4 as well. Borrowings was way down here to 1.2 from 60, so that's good there. Deferred tax liability up a little bit here to 337,000 from 189,000. So total liabilities are 141 million compared to 145, slight decrease here overall. And let's see here. Then we got issued capital of 926. That's the same. The reserves is down a little bit here to 12 from 6. And accumulated other comprehensive income loss was way up 644 million. Looks like from 482 million. And total stockholder equity is 270 compared to 437. And then total liabilities and stockholder equity is down as well to 411 from 583. Now, as far as the revenues are concerned here, we can see that Q2, they had 13.7 million. In Q1, they had 16.2. This was for their self-mining there. And then depreciation and amortization went up here in Q2 to 11 million compared to 7.4 million in Q1. Electricity charges also went up to 7.3 from 6.5. Employee benefits went actually down, so that's good, to 4 million from almost 6 million. Then we got share-based payment expenses also went down to 3.1 from 3.6. Let's see here. Impairment assets was up 89 million. Now that must be the miners that they gave back. Loss on digital assets was 15 million here. Doesn't look like they have anything on Q1. Professional fees went up a little bit to 1.7 from 1.2. And other expenses went way down to 3.6 from 10.8. So that's good there. So total for that was 128 million compared to 18 million. And that's based on the 89 million that's in here on that one. Okay, let's see here. Finance expenses went up to 10.3 from 3.5. Profit loss before income tax is 144 million negative compared to 21 million. And then net loss gain on income for the period was 143 compared to 24. And let's see here. This is 26. Yeah. Okay, so net loss was 129 million compared to 50 million in the prior quarter. Now, as far as the net income per share, basically they said 271.46, but it was in cents. If we look at the data here, we can look at it because that's where I pulled all the data from. You can see here 271.46 cents. Is that $2.71 per share? They're saying in cents. Why would they make I'm having a hard time figuring this out. If it's $2.71 per share, okay, that kind of makes more sense. Instead of $271, I didn't think that was going to be it. So my guess is it's $2.71 per share that they're down. And did not have anything for Q1 reported because they're reporting for the 6 months ended period on that one. And if we look at my numbers here, so BTC mined was 780 in Q1, 722 in Q2. They started at 1.1 exahash roughly in Q1, ended at 2.7. And then you can see here they were started Q2 at 2.7, but ended at 1.5. So average hash rate for the quarter Q1 was 1.9 exahash, 2.1 exahash for Q2. And they obviously increased here in Q1, decreased in Q2. BTC mined per average was 399 BTC in Q1 and 340 BTC per exahash in Q2. So that was down as well. And then cost to mine 1 BTC was 44,000 in Q1, 189,000 in Q2, which wasn't good. And then cost to mine minus depreciation, we're looking at 8.4 thousand for it in Q1, and it got up to 10.1 here in Q2. Okay, debt to equity ratio is 0.52, so that's not it's not too bad. We'd like to see that be a little bit lower. Also like to see the current ratio be up higher than where it is right now. Revenues as they were 13.7 for Q2. Q1 was 16.2. General administrative compensation was 7.2 in Q2 and 8.2 in Q1. That represents 50% for Q1 roughly and 52%. So that has been going up here. You can see here ever since Q1 of last year, it was 29%, 31%, 33, 47, 50, now 52%. So that is a little bit concerning there as well. Okay. So overall, we knew it was going to be well, at least I kind of figured it was going to be a pretty bad quarter for them, especially Q2 with giving back a lot of the miners. And hopefully these things improve as they get more miners in, as they get to 4.4, sell some of that, get to 5.5 exahash in their own self-mining. That'd be nice to see. Now, as far as my numbers here, I did update all of these. So I had them for Q1 at 15.7 million in revenue roughly. They came in at 16.2. I was off by 2.682%. This was still before I started doing the average Bitcoin price for the months instead of using the end of the month Bitcoin price. So we were at 2.682 here. In Q2, I had them at 13.5. They came in at 13.7, much closer. I was off by only 1.714%. That's kind of where I like to be as well. So I did update the numbers here as well for my kind of estimates of where I think they should be. And based on the current quarter that they're in and the last 3 quarters that are now actual reported numbers, I have them at a combined total of 57 million revenue potentially. And if we're using 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at PE of 15. This should be around $7.87. They are at 428. They're still about halfway there. And then if we're looking at 75% net income from gross revenue, $11.81. Now, if Bitcoin starts going up nicely, they could get to 20 here. So $10.50 to $15.74 easily, I think, as long as they can execute on this and they don't have any more problems with having to return miners. Okay. So that is it for them. Let me know what you guys think of this. Obviously, the investors are liking what they're seeing because the stock went up quite nicely today, 60-some%. So that was nice to see. And if they continue doing this well, this would be one that I would also possibly look into getting into. The other one is also Riot. You guys know that I have Bitfarms, CleanSpark, and Hive right now. And this is one of the ones that I would also keep an eye on. I'd like to see them grow past the 5.5. It'd be nice to see them get to maybe 10, 12 in the next year or two, somewhere around there. It'd be nice to see. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of that one. And let's get into the final thing here is where I see Bitcoin network hash rate possibly being at the end of 2023. So I took the data that we had on all the miners here as far as that I track, and I started with basically where did they start out the year at? Where did they end the year at? What were their guidance for being at the end of the year? How close did they get to all that? So that's all calculated here, percentage installed. Some got to 100%, some got to 140%, like CleanSpark installed way more than they were saying that they're going to get to. Others only installed 14%. Excuse me. Some only installed 33%. But I used all of this data here to come up with what possibly the network hash rate could go in general. So here are the numbers. Bitcoin miners petahash added in 2022, the ones that I covered, they added approximately 29 exahash here during the year. Let me maybe zoom this in a little bit more for you guys. This one, BTC miners were supposed to add, what they had on the books for getting the miners, and they were supposed to add by the end of the year, was 65 exahash. So they were only about 45% installed from what they said they were going to install for the year. So that's kind of the number that we're going to be using here going forward to kind of calculate what we possibly could get into this year. Now, Bitcoin network hash rate grew in 2022 by 81 exahash. And this is from where we started the year at 172 million, and we ended at 253 million. This, I believe I'm using the 7-day average for these numbers here. So that's kind of what we're getting at. So it grew about 47%. You could say roughly 50% that it grew, kind of what I was thinking at the beginning of last year. I was saying that we're possibly going to be growing about to 50% that year, and it actually came pretty close. What else do we have here? Miners, okay. The miners that I cover basically contributed 36% of the growth in Bitcoin network for 2022. Let's see, miners covered left in 2023. So this is what they have left to install, was 48 exahash right now. Potential all growth left in 2023. So this is just basically taking the number, percentage that the miners that I cover contributed to the network, multiplying it. Along with this, we would get possibly an additional 130 exahash added to this year if things stayed the same. Now, I don't believe that they are going to get all of this 48 exahash installed in 2023, just like they didn't get all the 65 exahash installed in 2022. There's going to be a percentage of that, and I'm going to be using that 45% roughly to get there. So if we had the 130 to the ending of December here, 253, we're looking at 383 million potentially of network hash rate at the end of the year. That would be a 51% increase. I don't think we're going to get that high. We were pretty high this year as well. But I think as the miners have a lot still on their books, a lot of them are having problems getting cheap electricity, and they're also having problems getting sites to put them into. I don't think we're going to grow that much. I think we're going to be growing somewhere around this area here, which is miners covered adjusted growth based on percentage installed. So I'm guessing they're possibly going to grow between 21 exahash and 36 exahash. I'm somewhere in between there. Potential all growth based on percentage installed. So we're looking at, for the miners that I cover and then the rest of the network that's out there that I don't cover, we're looking at between 59 exahash and 98 exahash. And then so network hash rate end of 2023, we're looking at between 312 million, and this is on the 7-day average, to 351 million by the end of the year. And network hash rate percentage increase would be anywhere between 23% and 39%. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere more in the middle, closer to probably like 31%, somewhere around there. And that is going to be probably the number that I use. Excuse me. That's going to be the number that I use for my prediction for when I do the actual miners, where I think they might possibly end up this year. My bear case scenario for 2022 was pretty close as far as the Bitcoin price and Bitcoin network hash rate. I was off on the miners. They didn't install nowhere near the miners that I thought they were going to install. So we're going to use the numbers that we do have in this one, plug them into my spreadsheet for the projections, and we'll see kind of where that kind of ends up at for the miners, where it could be Bitcoin price, things like that. And we'll do that in maybe, I don't know if I'll get it done tomorrow, but sometime this week I'll get that video out for you guys. Okay, so let me know if you guys agree with the network hash rate, if you guys agree also with the cardinal, what are those things called? Not the cardinals. What are those? Ordinals. If you also agree with the ordinals contributing to the price increase that we've seen currently in Bitcoin. And I think that's it. As always, spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. As always, thank you to everyone there for their continued support. It's a great community there. And thank you for everyone watching here. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.